Good evening, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to do a second one here, kind of follow up a little bit on what we did with auras this morning. But I also want to kind of end up talking about chants and Gregorian chants, other things that you can use that Kelder talks about, but also just things that I have used that might become helpful for you guys. So first of all, thank you guys for the comments, donations, subscriptions. I looked through a bunch of old comments and I didn't realize you guys were helping each other out all the way, and that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. It's great. So bless you guys, helping each other out. That's the main reason we're doing this, to try to get information out. I know you may agree with some of it, disagree with some of it, but use it the way you feel is correct and use it for your own benefit. That's the key. I am not an expert. I'm only kind of living through experiences and kind of sharing what I see. And I think that's important, that we have a healthy discussion on this. And you may disagree or agree, and I think that's fine. So thanks a lot. I appreciate all the great comments. A number of great things happening that I see. I saw, as I said before, people are reading that Kelder book. This is our Fountain of Youth book that we use sometimes to talk about things. We're going to use a little bit of it today to talk about chants as well today. Also, great that I got a message today about, I think it's Dr. Von Life's Investing's doing your own semen retention channel. That's great. There's so many good ones out there that's getting popped up and more. And once again, the key is getting the information out there, getting more and more people to understand the concept and to realize what we're doing with it. And I think that's important. And so I also want to say thank you and a shout out to Mona Lisa. I looked at a lot of the comments Mona Lisa's making, and I think it's wonderful. Mona Lisa is not agreeing with some of the stuff that we're talking about. In fact, the aura one, talking about what is evidence, and doesn't agree with Curlin's photography as well. That's understandable, and I appreciate that. And hopefully we give you enough information to be able to kind of change your mind a little bit. But I want people to kind of have a healthy discussion. I don't, I'm an old traditionalist, and I may not agree with totally what you say, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. And I think that's important to recognize. So Mona Lisa, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Please continue to make comments, and we'll kind of talk through it a little bit. The comment he's making, talking about the fact that there's not a lot of proof about auras. So let's kind of go into that first before I go into chants. I'm going to do both of these here. Because Blissful Oasis also mentioned something about Dyson glasses, and I looked those up and looked up the information. Again, you have to kind of think about this in terms of logic, to my mind. Now, I teach science, so I teach physics, and so there is a lot of scientific research that indicates that we're made up of molecules, and there's energy that we have, kinetic and potential. Kinetic is moving energy. Potential is sitting inside of us. If we sit around and don't move, we're having potential energy, but it's never going to kinetic energy. So the question then becomes, is what is this energy that we have? And so we look at energy. Let me talk about this for a second first. We talk about energy. Now we're talking about this thing around you. Now, whether you see it or not, in the articles and stuff I talked about, there's several different colors that you could have in your Dyson glasses, or just looking at people. Some people are very good at that. I think you have to take practice to look at that. But I go back to the same old thing, is that the actions that people use with you is different. They're sensing something different in you. Now, whether you want to call that aura or see the aura, to my mind, that's not the key thing. The key thing is the fact of how people treat you. And that with a lot more respect, a lot more attraction, tons of attraction, and a lot of it goes back to it. Now, your aura can change. From what I'm reading and talking about, your aura can change based on, having problems, stress, not working out, releasing. All these type of things can affect how you actually look aura-wise. And I would agree with that. Once again, energy is energy. You may have some bad energy You may be around people that have bad energy, and I call them those energy suckers. And those people are the ones who basically are sucking your energy. You can't let that happen, warriors. You got to keep moving on. Don't let people who are negative affect you. Continue to have your goals. Work towards your goals. Work towards things that you want to achieve, and that's the key to it. Now, you're gonna emit an energy. That is not no doubt, because we're made of energy. So if you're able to have a child and you could procreate, you are giving some energy to something. Now, you can call that semen, you can call that a lot of different things, but what is everything made of? Molecules and energy. That's all it is, energy, when it comes down to it. Because you know that when people pass away, that body goes away. It will disintegrate at some point, but something was in it. Something was in it. And I think that's the key. You have to kind of look at the idea of whether or not something is really real or it's spiritual. There's different planes we're talking about here. And when you look at this, you have to move to that different plane and realize that not everything you see is real. There's a spiritual side of things. Now, if you don't see that part of it, that's going to be the first hurdle to overcome in accepting any of this. You have to understand there's a spiritual world. Now, some people say that, you may think they're kind of losing it. But the idea is, if you think about it logically, we cannot just see the physical. If we did that, we'd all be gods. And that's the problem. People think they're gods. And they're not. We're all playing a part in God's world, but we're not God. All right, so going back to this thing, the aura is something that's important because it's an energy around you. People sense that. They feel it. They want your energy. And this is why women become so attracted to you. Now, another thing that can help with this, and Keller talks about this once again in the book Fountain of Youth that I'm reading from. And he's talking about the fact that, and I think it's actually, if you look in the book, part 4 in the book that I have here. It talks about the fact that a feeble body enables the mind. A feeble body enables the mind, by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So Rousseau wrote this. And it's a great quote, because when your mind is affected a certain way, your body's affected the same way, and vice versa. Your body and mind kind of come together. So if you're thinking about sexual thoughts, if you're wasting your time, releasing all the time, you're not going to be as strong. And one of the ways that this is important is talking about the throat. We talk about one of the benefits is the fact that you have stronger, deeper voice. Now, I know Flex Williams, I appreciate you a lot, Flex, talking about this, that if you go back to some of my earlier videos, he's saying that, my voice is deeper than it was, and that's probably correct. I have not checked it. I will tell you that I feel like my voice is deeper, but it's because of the retention. It's because of this. Now, I also do some exercises. So Kendler talks about this on page 68. He talks about the fact that how important sexual vitality is by listening to the person speak. If you're a person, and I look at Barry White, you remember the guy, singer, and I have a student of mine like this too, deep voice. This person has a deep voice. A lot of people will resonate with that deep voice with their sexual vitality. Now, why is that? Well, we go back to the chakras again, okay? So he says, do you know that some experts can tell how much sexual vitality a man has by just listening to his voice? We've already heard the shrill, the piping voice of a beta male, right? Who's advanced in age. When a man takes on that pitch, it's a sign that physical deterioration is on its way as well. So he explains, the fifth vortex in the throat area governs the vocal cords, the fifth vortex in the throat. It has direct connection with the second vortex, right? Which is your reproductive system in the sexual area. So they have common connections, but the thing is that person who has a high voice and shrilled, then all of a sudden that person has an indication their sexual energy is low. Now, I agree with this 100%, because I've seen this with me in the past, where my voice was so high, that I was releasing all the time. All of a sudden, when I stop releasing, my voice has become a lot more deeper. And it's very interesting to me, If the energy in a second vortex is low, you can bet that it's lacking the other 6 as well. So number 2, guys, if the second vortex is low, that's your sexual energy. If you're releasing all the time and you don't have that energy, all the other ones are probably low as well. So now you're gonna have to speed up the 2nd and 5th ones. And so besides the 5 rights that we talked about with the exercises, there's a couple things you can do. You can go, like, and I do this, hold it a few times. We talk about the chants. This is kind of stuff that they do. And you hold it, you'll just sense a change in your energy level. It's sometimes kind of hard to do, actually. And so you can do that. Other things you can do is going, I do those as well. So there's 2 or 3 of these that you can do. They actually go ahead and help you with this. But once again, you're using this to kind of enhance your energy levels and the vortexes and moving them fast. And that's what you got to do. You want to stay moving quickly on the vortexes, because those are the things that are going to go ahead and keep you younger, in my opinion. And not only the sexual retention, but then using those vortexes to actually go ahead and make you stronger. So again, when we look at aura, we're talking about energy, we're talking about chants, we're talking going, you could feel it right in your body, right down the middle of your body, you can feel it. Now, to the common person, it may sound kind of strange, right? But just remember what energy is. Vocal energy, physical energy, spiritual, they're all energy. We're made up of energy. The world is made up of energy. And if you continue to use these type of things, in my opinion, you'll not only get vitality, but you'll get a youth that is unbelievable. And like I said, guys, I'm 61. I feel like I'm at least 35, 40 years old, if not even younger. I feel like it, at least I feel. Now, whether I look like that or not, I'm not that interested in that, to be honest with you. I mean, I appreciate you guys making comments. That's great. I feel full of vitality, which is why I call this Vigor Warriors, right? We are strong warriors that are going to get stronger every year. I don't care if you're 81, 61, 51, 21. You're going to get stronger. And it's because of keeping retention, but not only that, but using it in ways that you can enhance yourself, and using the chance to do that are very important. So again, things like hold that. I would say 2 to 3 minutes if you can. It's hard to do that. Also, by the way, and I go back to who sent this to me, but I think it was Scott May sent this to us. There's a nice link that he put together on talking about breathing and holding your breath to see if you're actually in shape. And I will say that I'm in better shape. I think I made 5 or 6 before I lost my breath on this thing. I think 5 is strong lungs. I used to be at 1 and 2. So to me, this is another one of these indications that I'm better off now, 940 days later, than I was before. Anyway, guys, another example. Chants are good if you're using them this way to move ahead your chakras. All you're doing, you're focusing on the inside, and you're moving that energy. You'll feel it. If you do it and you sit there and you have that retention you're holding in, I mean, it's overpowering. And this is why we look at that exercise number 1 with the spinning. A lot of those whirling dervishes, they used to call them, they have a whole spiritual experience because they're going around crazy like 600 times. Now, I wouldn't recommend that too many times. They usually say 21. Same thing with the chants. But you can literally go crazy with some of this stuff because it's so powerful. And if you hold your for a long time, you'll realize the power. All right, my friends. Well, enough of this one. I wanted to kind of tell you guys that I appreciate, once again, great comments. Thank you guys for helping each other out and trying to give people advice and help people. We all have great opinions on this. We all have important opinions. And shout outs to people who disagree. That's great. Mona Lisa, please keep doing that. I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate Don, a guy starting new channels. That's wonderful. You guys helping each other out. The main thing, guys, and I don't care about myself here. I care about the fact that we're getting people, men together, especially men. Now, women can do the same thing, and that's great, but I'm focusing on the men because it's a bigger problem. And I know David and a few other people talked about that Christ is more important, but guys, we have an epidemic here that we've got to try to get people away from this issue. Move away from the woman temptation, move back to God. And I think that's important. Again, that's your spiritual type life that has to come first. All right, guys, God bless you guys. Have a great evening. We'll talk again tomorrow. We'll kind of try to do one tomorrow. Let's see what we got. We'll do more. We'll look at music because music and meditation are also something we can use. And Mike also wanted me to kind of talk about an old one on pheromones, and I may do that a little bit tomorrow too. And then Michael Jackson will probably do that on New Year's Day or the day after that. So, all right, guys, have a great evening. We'll talk to you. Remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. Battle on!